Hi all, welcome to another video tutorial of Easy Way to Automation. From today onwards, we are going to start a new series of Karate framework. So it's a useful tool for test automation. But before we start Karate framework, we need to know certain things. So basically, Karate framework we are going to learn for API testing. So first we need to know what is API testing, objective of API testing, then we will get to know about Karate framework and why is it being used, why Karate framework, why Karate framework. Okay, so let's start with API first. So what is an API? API in full form means application program interface. It's a computing interface that enables, so it's a computing interface that enables communication and data exchange between two software systems. Third point, API is the middle layer between the presentation layer and the database layer. Let me open Paint to make you understand. Suppose this is our presentation layer, or we can say user interface. Okay, so here we are doing GUI testing. Okay, so here we are performing GUI testing, or we are doing UI automation, right? UI automation, or we can say GUI testing, right? So then we have database layer. Okay, so here we are doing database testing. For example, like if you want to check or like validate database, right? So you can always do database testing. So this is your database layer. And here we are performing database testing. Let me keep it like this. So in between presentation layer and database layer, we have something called as business layer. Business layer, or this is called as your application user interface. Okay, and this is where your API works. So API testing works here, right? So I'll just write API testing works here. Okay, so basically your API testing works in business layer, and it is the middle layer between the presentation layer and database layer. Okay, so now what is the objective of API testing? So what is the objective of API testing? Why we are doing API testing? The objective is to the objective is to validate the contract testing, which helps monitor the API conversation, the API conversation that takes place between the API consumer and the API provider. Its objective is to validate the contract testing, which helps monitor the API conversation that takes place between the API consumer and the API provider. Right. So obviously, if we are sending a request and from the consumer side, right? So we are expecting a response from the provider side. I hope you have got overall idea about API. So now we will see like why Karate framework, or what is Karate framework. So basically Karate framework is an open source framework. Okay, so it's an open source framework. It's an open source framework. Why open source? Because you don't have to pay for it, right? So it's for free. Okay, so you just have to download and you can start using it. So it's an open source framework, or like we can say Java based framework, open source and Java based framework for test automation. So using Karate framework, we can automate UI, we can do API testing, right? But broadly, it's being used for API automation. Okay. Then why Karate framework? See, currently we all are working in agile methodology, right? So when we work in an agile environment, we do not have that much time to build an automation framework or full-fledged framework from the scratch. So we are looking for a framework that is full-fledged or that is readily available. So that we just have to take that framework and start building our test automation scripts. So whenever we are talking about a full-fledged automation framework, Karate framework comes into the picture. So you just have to download the related libraries, the Java libraries, and you can start using it. So few advantages are there. The first advantage is Cucumber or Gherkin standard. Okay, so basically we know like whenever we are following Gherkin standard, we have to write a feature file, right? So here actually you just have to write or like come up with a feature file because the step definition code has already been provided or it has already been written. You don't have to rework on that. So it has already been written, you just have to write the feature file. The second point is low code. As I said, the step definition code has already been written, you don't have to write it again. So here actually less code is there, you don't have to code that much. As you don't have to code that much, that means it is easy for non-programmers, right? Easy for non-programmers, like who doesn't like to code or like who doesn't like to write. People are there like they are from non-technical background, so it will be easier for them. So it is one of the advantages, easy for non-programmers. And another point is like it has built-in reports. Okay, so you don't have to rely on any other third-party reporting tool to come up with a well customized test execution report. It has its built-in report available. So as soon as your execution gets over, it will generate a well customized test execution report for you. And another point is like it has native support for CSV file. So if you want to go for data driven test, so you can do that easily because it has native support for CSV file. Another point is it has native support for JSON path and XPath expressions. Another point is built-in assertions. So if you want to apply any checkpoint, right, where you want to compare your expected value with the actual value, or like you are expecting something to be validated, right? So it has its built-in assertions available. So these are few, some major advantages of using Karate framework. So in our next tutorial, we will see like how to set up a Karate framework from the scratch. I hope you found this video useful. If you like it, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you for watching this.